One night, as Snowy the polar bear cub slept beside his mother in the Arctic, a fierce winter storm roared to life. Winds howled, snowflakes swirled, and the cold bit into everything it touched. Snowy huddled close to his mother, but the storm was so strong that he felt himself rolling and tumbling as the snow piled higher around them. When the storm finally quieted and morning light broke through the clouds, Snowy opened his eyes. But something was wrong. He was alone. Snowy shook the snow off his fur, his little heart pounding with fear. "Mama!" he called, but only the stillness of the snowy landscape answered him. Snowy took a deep breath, braced himself against the cold, and set out to find his mother, determined to be brave. As Snowy trudged through the snow, he soon came to a wide, frozen river. The ice was covered with snow, making it slippery and tricky to cross. Snowy hesitated, watching his breath puff out in the chilly air. He took one step onto the ice, then another, his paws slipping as he struggled to keep his balance. About halfway across, Snowy heard a loud crack. The ice began to split beneath him. Snowy's heart raced as he carefully took another step, then another, until finally he reached the other side just as a piece of ice broke away behind him and drifted downstream. Snowy looked back, shivering from both the cold and the fright, but he felt a little braver now. He had made it across. Snowy continued his journey and soon found himself in a dark, frozen forest. The towering pine trees stretched high above him, their branches heavy with snow. The shadows cast by the trees looked dark and mysterious, and strange sounds echoed all around him. Branches creaked, snow crunched, and the wind whispered through the trees. Snowy took a deep breath to steady himself. "I can do this," he whispered. Step by step, he made his way through the forest, each sound making him jump. Snowy's paws left tiny prints in the fresh snow as he moved carefully, focusing on one step at a time. At last, the trees began to thin, and the open landscape lay before him again. Snowy looked back, feeling proud of himself for making it through the eerie forest. Just as Snowy thought he was getting closer to home, the wind began to howl, and snow started to fall thickly around him. Before he knew it, a blizzard had settled in, making it hard to see even a few steps in front of him. The snow stung his eyes, and the wind was so strong that it almost knocked him over. Snowy lowered his head, trying to shield his face from the wind. "Keep going," he told himself. His paws were getting tired, and he was beginning to feel very cold, but Snowy pressed on, taking small steps through the thick snow. He squinted through the blizzard, searching for anything familiar, but all he could see was white. Snowy kept moving, one paw in front of the other, until at last the blizzard began to settle, and he could see the land around him again. Snowy had made it through the blizzard, but now he faced his toughest challenge yet. A steep, snowy mountain stood in his path. Snowy had never climbed anything so high, but he knew he had to be brave. Taking a deep breath, he began to climb. The snow on the mountain was deep, and Snowy's paws slipped with every few steps. He clawed his way up, sometimes sliding back down, but he refused to give up. When he was almost at the top, Snowy's foot slipped on a patch of ice, and he tumbled backward, landing with a soft thud in a pile of snow. He felt like giving up, but then he remembered his mother's warm smile and the feeling of being wrapped in her soft fur. With newfound determination, Snowy stood up and started climbing again, this time moving more carefully. After a long, hard climb, he finally reached the top of the mountain and looked out over the snowy land below. In the distance, he saw a familiar shape, his family's den. Snowy's heart leaped with joy as he scrambled down the mountain, his little paws carrying him as fast as they could. The land looked more and more familiar as he ran, and soon he could see his mother searching for him in the snow. "Mama!" he cried, his voice full of happiness. His mother turned, her face lighting up with joy as she saw him. "Snowy!" she called, running to meet him. Snowy rushed into her warm, comforting embrace, feeling safe and happy at last. She nuzzled him gently, proud of her brave little cub. That night, Snowy snuggled close to his mother under the bright Arctic stars, feeling proud of himself for facing the trials on his journey home. And though he never wanted to be lost again, he knew that he could be brave and strong no matter what came his way.